Hey everyone, welcome to Green Day. We continue our Rainbow Q&A about diverse sexuality and gender. The question for today is, what book changed or saved your life as a kid? Good question, right? Anytime I asked a librarian this on the celebration tour, they were like, which book didn't change or save my life? Every book changes and saves lives. I mean, that's one of the powers of books and one of the things I love about books. And I'm a huge reader. So I'm going to narrow it down and say, okay, what book that you read that was about diverse sexuality and gender, or just sexuality, because a lot of us didn't read books that were about diverse sexuality and gender as kids. So for me, the answer that I gave all the librarians, and that was really powerful for me, was The Diary of Anne Frank. And that was the abridged version where her father edited out a lot of the sexual parts. I'm looking forward to reading the unabridged version now that I'm adult and can kind of see the difference between those books and why he may have edited some of that out. But she just was such a powerful hero for me during what was a really challenging time of having to hide in an attic in Amsterdam in order to not be discovered by the Nazis during World War II. And I got to visit that museum when I went on my sex museum tour of Europe. And the Anne Frank Museum in Amsterdam is fantastic. And I have to tell you, there are 2 sex museums in Amsterdam, and I still liked the Anne Frank Museum better. I just thought it was so powerful, and I loved how she had her sexual awakening, and she recorded it in her diary. And it just showed me that anything is possible. The human spirit is so amazing. So that was one that was really powerful for me, that had something to do with sexuality. And then also Where Do Babies Come From by Peter Mayle. And that I'll put up a picture of my daughter holding that book, because I actually found the book that I read as a kid when I was at my family's house in Boston over the summer for the celebration tour. And it was so cool to find that and to realize kind of how progressive that book is, and also realize why it may have been censored as often as it has been censored. But finally, I want to share a really, really fun book with you that I loved as an 8th grader. It was given to me. My mom and my godmother were really into reading Alice Walker, The Color Purple, and so my mom decided to give me this book called In Search of Our Mother's Gardens. And it's a book of essays, and I ended up doing one of the essays called Beauty When the Other Dancer is the Self for my drama presentation, and I ended up winning the whole drama contest, and I ended up winning the whole contest for my presentation of Alice Walker's work that begins with, I am 27 and my baby daughter is almost 3. And this was a really powerful book for me because it just brought me into the understanding of what does it mean to be a womanist. I started learning about Zora Neale Hurston, who did a lot around anthropology and folklore, and what does it mean to be African American in the early 1900s. Just an amazing book. And Alice Walker has continued to be one of my favorite writers, and she writes a lot about sexuality and gender, and so it's been very inspirational for me, and I really got to know her in 8th grade with this book. So as you can see, it's very dog-eared. I love this book, and I highly recommend checking it out if you've never seen it. Tomorrow we'll get on to some different questions for Blue Day. So until then, I ask you, what book changed or saved your life as a kid, especially about diverse sexuality and gender? I would love to hear it. I would love to celebrate you and what inspired you. And until we meet again, celebrate all the people in your life. Bye.